ahead and open the door to our digital classroom. And good morning, Jason. Good to see you. Thanks for being there. So we're not officially starting yet. I'm consuming a donut, but we'll get to it. I'm an equal opportunity person. Not too. Butterscotch. I mean, I would still eat it because you made the effort, but I wouldn't enjoy it as much. They used to. Yeah. Okay, Jason's saying we're getting a lot of static, so we're gonna go up here and see. Yeah, it could be me chewing, Jason. I'm sorry. All right, Jason, I turned it down a little bit. Maybe that'll help. Jason's saying we're getting a little squelching, but I turned the gain down a little bit, so we'll see. Good morning, buddy. Good to see you. Thank you for being there. What's, what's that? I would. So, Bubba, what is a clear alert? It was on the billboard. I've never heard of a clear. Hmm. Okay. Well, I don't feel bad then, because I was like, clear is sounds like wind. Now you know your big market. This today is the last day of Breaking Barriers, and today we're going to talk about Ebenezer's. How many of you know what an Ebenezer is? Okay. Yes. Okay. Right. Right. Yes, it is in a song. That's correct. That's correct. So you know of the word Ebenezer, but do you know what it means? Because it's actually a biblical word. And once I tell you the definition of it, it's going to be interesting because I wonder if Ebenezer Scrooge, if that name was selected in part because of its biblical definition. So if we recall, we've been living with the children of Israel on the outside of the promised land, on the wrong side of the Jordan, as it were, and God had spent 4 decades. Now Ronnie's probably out there wrestling with my phone stand. Oh, here he comes, wrestling with my phone stand. Thank you so much, Ronnie. I appreciate you. So let me do this real quick. Oh, that is true. There is more than one. You know, what's funny is I would have sworn that I had printed this off. I even looked twice. Obviously, that did me no good. No. You know, I may have given it to Jordan this morning. I'm going to be much more thorough if I have my notes. There we go. Here it comes. All right. Now we're cooking. Yes. All right. Okay, there we go. Oh, now we're cooking with propane. Technology is spectacular when it works. So our focus passage today is Joshua, the 4th chapter, verses 20 through 24. If you'd turn to that, and when you get there, if you feel comfortable reading out loud, if you'd do that, I would deeply appreciate that. Good morning, Alan. Glad to have you. Samuel, it's great to see you. Dad, it's good to see you while you're out of state. 4:20 through 24, please. All right. So the instructions was this: once they've crossed over the River Jordan, they are to go back in, collect 12 stones, one for each, representing each tribe, each 12 tribes, bring them out of the Jordan River. And what happened to the Jordan River when the Israelites were finished in it? It went back, like it's flowing today. God parted it, they got through it, and he closed it. So what we see is this. So we see stones of remembrance. Let me ask you this: do we use stones of remembrance? We do. What are things that we use to remember by? What's that? Headstones. Yeah, we use those to remember. Sure. What else? Stones on a ring. We do. Well, don't we? So how many of you are wearing your original wedding band? Okay. It's interesting. I don't see any of the men's hands raised except one. Except one. Except one. How about this? So we have jewelry, stone, rings, trophies. Does anybody have trophies when you were younger? You have those, right? How about this? Tattoos. Now I'm looking around. How many in here have tattoos? I know one, two, three. Okay. Do they have special? Is there one with a special memory associated? You do. Say which one. Meaning, yeah, that's same. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, Bubba, I saw your hand. What is yours? Okay. Okay. And you blamed someone for that. Okay. Okay. Autographs. Maybe you have something that's autographed, but we stones of remembrance or items of remembrance are a part of us in a lot of ways. In my car, if you get in my car today, up in the dash, there's a little bitty teddy bear. It's about this big, and it sits there. And that teddy bear has sat in at least 3 cars, maybe 4, and that came out of a Happy Meal that my daughter got. And it's been in every car. It sits there in every car I've owned since we got it. Now, my son, in my car, there is a bracelet in the armrest because it doesn't fit my meaty man-sized wrists. But it's from his Robo Wranglers group when he was in high school. And I have a couple of golf balls from a putt-putt golf course in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Forever ago, we were there on my birthday, and the kids, we took them playing putt-putt. I say this is it's not exact. It's not always the value of the item. It's the memory associated with it, right? And so, how can those types of things be used to share a portion of history? Scars. I didn't mention that. Scars can be part of it too. Just the other day, my granddaughter looks at me and she asked me about this scar. It's like the first time she'd ever seen it, and she wanted to know, what that was. And I got to tell you, it was kind of nice to be able to share with her, not the tragedy of it, but the triumph of it, And so those things. But how do we use them to convey the history associated with it? Hmm. Yeah. 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 That's when Jeff's not playing with it. You'll wait your turn and you'll like it. Hmm. Yeah. 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 You listen to the zoo? Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Man, I wasn't gonna say that's not right, but that just didn't. That was. But. Hmm. And it gives us a launching point, and we're also teaching those that we get to speak about that heritage is important, memories are important, The future is exciting and important, but we cannot forget where we've come from as well. Dr. Steele said this: their departure from Egypt and their arrival in Canaan are signalized by I've never even heard that, by parallel miracles of the sea and the river. Both at the exit and at the entrance, Jehovah leads them through a watery gate by cleaving the waters asunder. The stones in the river were both reminders of the door God had opened and the door God was closing to retreat. Have you ever thought about that? We always know God opened the Red Sea, and subsequently I'm going to mention the movie Exodus during our next hour, but God opened the Red Sea, the Israelites crossed on dry ground, and then God closed it. What did God do in the closing? Well, one, we know that he annihilated the Egyptian army. But two, there was no way back. There was no way back. And as it were with the Jordan River, it was in flood stage. God parted the river, they walked across on dry land, and when they were done, God sealed it back up. God opens a door with the intent that we don't ever retreat back through it. And so as I was gnawing on that one for a while this week, I really liked it. We see this type of attitude and actions recorded in 1 Samuel chapter 7, where it says this: Samuel then took a large stone and placed it between the towns of Mizpah and Gehenna. He named it Ebenezer, for he said, up to this point the Lord has helped us. The word Ebenezer means stone of help. It was a monument to the future generations that hereto the Lord had helped them. Likewise, in Psalm 71, it says, even while I am old and gray, God, do not abandon me, while I proclaim your power to another generation, your strength to all who come. So we see the stone of help. Now let's think about this. What stones of help have you enjoyed or experienced in your life? What stones of help have you experienced in your life? Encouragement. That's a big one. I had the opportunity this week. I happened upon one, Dr. Dewey Davidson. Some of you don't know who he is. That is the man who led me to faith in Jesus. And we were talking, and he was reminiscing about how he had gotten the unparalleled and unequaled privilege of baptizing one Jeff Phillips. And we began to talk, and after his ministry here in Greenville the first time, the church went through difficult days. And he began to reflect on that. He said, I never really saw what occurred to occur. And he made this statement: I'm not really sure if I made a difference. And so now I said, whoa. I said, Dewey, I said, let the student teach the teacher. I said, Dewey, you drive past Dixon Baptist Church every time you come into this town. And the Dixon Baptist Church, when my family and I served there, and the church today are two different churches. I'm not saying better or worse, different. And there were times when I would find myself feeling the same way that Dewey had just stated. I'm not sure if we made a difference. I'll tell you this: there's times I feel that way now. But the Lord is teaching me. And I said, Dewey, here's the thing. The church isn't the building. The building is where the church gathers. We do ministry in the minds and in the hearts and the lives of people who gather at that building. I said, Dewey, when I find myself becoming discouraged, the ministry in that 12 years of our lives lives on today. And in part, two of them are sitting right there. I was engaged with the McKinneys way back then. I said, it is third and fourth generation. Isn't that right, Bubba? I said, Dewey, I said, you listen to me. And I put my finger at him like this. It was so good. I felt so good. I said, you listen to me. I said, when the devil puts that in your ear, I said, I just want you to look at my face. And I thanked him. I said, Dewey, because you were there. You saved my life. You changed my eternity. And I'll be forever in your debt. I said, when you think that, I said, if you can't remember anything else, remember me. You see, the stones of remembrance in our lives can be people. You know, we think of actions, and that's important, right? Actions define truth. We might even think of buildings. You know, when I think of it, I think of Artist Heights, that little white country church that I leaned over to my fiance and I said, I'd never serve in a church like this. You remember that, babe? Yeah. Well, God stuffed that crow down my throat 3.5 years in it, and I wouldn't take a thing for it. Some of the best years of my life and our ministry took place at Artist Heights Baptist Church. They have a building now where I used to park cars on that slab. And then 12 years at Dixon Baptist Church, where, like I said, it's not the same Dixon that it was 12 years ago, but you know what? I wouldn't change a thing. When I drive down 69 and I go through Dixon and on down to Lone Oak, almost every house has a face associated with it for the years and the memories. Most of them have moved on one way or another, but I see them there. And when I go downtown and I'm at, you know, the coffee shop there on the corner, just down the street, there was little Bubba Goodwin. Just down the street, like 3 houses down on the left. I remember where Bubba Goodwin lived. The actions are important. The attitudes are important. The places are important. But the true stones are the people. I want you to think in your mind right now one person that you go, You know, my little Appalachian Pentecostal grandma, I'm thinking about starting her own Facebook page. You know, you know her. But there's been so many more. Dr. Dewey Davidson. If he had not been there and he had not... Listen, salvation is unto the Lord exclusively. But he was faithful. And God chose to intersect my eternity with his. And I'm so thankful that he did. And I wouldn't do it the way he did it, but that's the way we did it. Saved in January, serving in a church in September. Woo! But the Lord was in it. Tell me, who is that person you're thinking of right now? Who is that person that you're thinking of? An organization. I'll accept that. What is it? Coming at you. Yeah. So, based on that story, I could tell how impactful that was, because that's how I think of you. Yeah. 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 You don't know. You don't know. Yeah. Man, that's good right there. I would stop right there, but I'm not. Somebody else? Who's your stone of remembrance that you're thinking of? Okay. Any particular thing? Just yeah, yeah. I tell you what, man. There's nothing like being chosen. You know. My mom and dad, chose us. You know, they each had kids the old-fashioned way, but for me and my biological sister, they chose us. And I'm not saying that makes me better. It doesn't. I'm just, but I can tell you it changes things because had they not. So my father is actually online. So Dad, thank you. When you got 6 and you add on 2 more, that's crazy. But they did it. Thanks be to the Lord. So anyone else? Now, see, everybody was accusing me of making everyone cry last week, and I don't know why. But anybody else? Your stone? Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 We're so thankful for that group, Mothers of Troubled Kids, that brought the two of those parents together. It's Gay, it's still not clicking in Gay's head yet. Yeah. May I propose to you that one of our greatest ministries will occur when we have passed and gone on to glory. When we do that, we will have left behind all the work that we've done, the tasks that we accomplished, the words that we've said and written, the people that we've touched, the causes we've supported, the lives that we've changed, the children that we've raised, the churches that we've sustained, the missionaries that we've sent, and the funds that were invested in the kingdom. One day, if the Lord tarries his return, we will step into glory and we will have left behind what could be, should be, Lord willing, will be our greatest ministry, and that is our legacy. Our living legacy. The other day I was at an event and we were talking about history and legacy, and one of the hard things to understand is that for me as a pastor, if the Lord tarries, there'll be a day when ALF won't remember me. We go back to Park Street. When did you start going to Park Street? What was second grade for you? First grade? Okay. So you can't hardly remember the year. Can you tell me who the pastor was? Oh, okay. Thanks for shooting my illustration down. Okay. Okay, can someone tell me a church that you went to that you don't remember who the pastor was? Okay. Mossy Head? See, Jeff, they didn't call us. I would not have made that choice. Mossy Head Baptist Church. That's it. That's the name. But there will come a day if the Lord tarries, that my name might not even be remembered in this place. But it is my hope that the influence, the life spent here, will carry on. One is that it's still here, that we're still fixing water pipes, and we're still putting up security gates, and we're still mowing the grass, and we're still turning the lights on. Can you imagine the saints of 50 years ago when they built this building? In the hopes of what? That this would be an Ebenezer. That 50 years from then, there would be the church meeting in this place. Lord willing, that'll be the testimony that you and I leave one day. Revelation 14 tells us this. And I heard a voice from heaven saying, write this down. Blessed are those who die in the Lord from now on. Yes, says the Spirit, they are blessed indeed, for they will rest from their hard work, for their good deeds follow them. You know, the older that I get, the more I understand what it means just to be tired. Do you ever you just get tired? Just sit around and watch the news for a while, and you'll get tired. You watch the Astros and the Braves? Wow. Okay. What news? What are you watching? Houston and Atlanta news, or? Oh, well, you know. But one day, if the Lord tarries, we'll rest from our work, and our good deeds will follow us. You know, Lord willing, it'll take a couple of generations before I'm thoroughly and completely forgotten. Now, if I can get the statue that I so desperately want, it will extend that memory. Or if you at least inter my ashes on campus and put something, be nice. Something. Hey, that works for me. Yeah. Yeah. And oh, uh-huh. Yeah. 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 See, I like the idea of the Starbucks cup, because at least then I can stir up conversation, because someone walks by and they go, oh, well, he's got to be a liberal. Doesn't he know their political position on? Man, if I boycotted everything, then I wouldn't have anything, you know. But anyway, that's a different thing. Plus, I don't think too many birds will rest on a Starbucks cup, so that'd be okay. The Almighty has a unique plan for each of us that involves leaving a legacy with an echo chamber that will resonate until Christ returns. If you've ever had the privilege of being around an echo chamber or have the mountains echo back to you, what does our voice say? When it echoes back to our world, what does it say? When it echoes back to our children, what does it say? When it echoes back, what does it say? We want it to say that we love the Lord. We want it to say that we live for the Lord. We want it to say that the Lord is worthy of your trust. Don't underestimate how the next stage of your life will influence generations yet unborn. We have to find a way to preserve a testimony. Think about the saints of the Bible that we still talk about today. Think about the saints of our previous generations. I often wonder of my family in West Virginia, how often do they talk about my little Appalachian Pentecostal grandma? Because she's in my mind all the time. I don't know if they remember her the way I do, but I remember her, and you remember her. You can't hear "I'll Fly Away" and not think of my Pentecostal grandma. And in that, she echoes on. So we talked about the Ebenezers that have been left for us. So let's take the last few minutes and talk about the Ebenezers that we're leaving. What do you want it to say of you? When glory is your home and, we've left it for someone else. What do you want it to say of you? Now listen, don't give me some store-bought, churchy, I want to hear your heart here. What do you want your Ebenezer to say of you? Positive influence. It's important. Especially today. We need some positivity. See, I love Melinda. Now, after a while, well, Melinda is always positive, and she can party all night long. After a while, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go home. But Melinda, and that is not a slight in any way. I know it sounds very weird, but everywhere Melinda goes, this is what you see, whether it's drug-free or whether it's, what's the dance thing? Stardusters. It's the same, and it's always been that. And yeah, we need those. We absolutely need those. Yeah. So that's a good, And again, Melinda, I don't mean any disrespect. You have more energy than I do, and creativity. I don't know if I've lost mine or I don't know, but Melinda has not lost a scotch. Love that. Somebody else. What do you want it to be? Okay. Yeah. I want them to know I'm a giver. Yeah. What does she mean by that? She was just behind on God's will in her life. Her baby shower was hosted here by someone else, and she says of her own testimony, I just felt something special here. Hey, I feel something special. Never mind. We'll get back to you. Let's put a pin in that. Someone else. What do you want your stone? And hey, we're still working on it, right? We're not finished yet. But what do you want it to say? Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mhm. Okay. And authenticity with boldness? Yeah, sure. And hence, authentic life? Mhm. Authenticity? What they're not going to say? Uh, well, oh man, any chance I get, I love to invoke Ronnie McKinney, especially anytime I happen upon FEC folk. It's funny. So, and I can tell you, Ronnie, in all truthfulness, I've never had anyone that didn't begin with a smile. So, that's good. Anyone else? For me, I want it to say faithful. I just want to finish this race well. Too many of my peers don't finish. They start off really hot and run really long, and then somewhere in the end they just hang it up or forfeit it. I hope, and I really do, as morbid as it may sound, I hope to teach on Sunday morning and maybe see glory on Sunday night. That would be the best for me. Because, huh? Oh, clear. That's right. We got him back. One more, just for good measure. But, I hope that my last words are of Jesus, and as I was studying this, especially this last part, I hope that if the Lord tarries and my transition to the Lord comes, that it comes without a lot of fuss. And in that passage we read a moment ago about Psalms, I pray that God helps me to remember, because I believed I was going to die when I was 30 until I was about 32. I prayed that the Lord would allow me to see my children graduate from high school. And then the Lord blessed, He blessed me with that, and then their careers. The Lord's blessed me with a son-in-law, and then I've been blessed with a granddaughter and a bride of 30 plus years. And so the truth is, ladies and gentlemen, is I'm living on the gravy. And so it is my deepest prayer that as long as the Lord sustains me, that I don't give way to what is the nature of man, to become embittered and disillusioned by the process of life. God has been so good to me. And it is my responsibility and it is my prayer that God would help me to remember that all the days of my life. Because I've had almost twice as many years as my parents. I'm fast approaching double the life of my birth parents. How could I not be thankful for that? And all that that's afforded me. And so I want to finish faithful. Faithful to my bride, faithful to my kids, faithful to my ministry, faithful to my Lord. That is all for me. So maybe on that bronze Starbucks cup that sits out underneath the tree that the squirrels run around, it could just simply say, not Jimmy, but faithful. Hey, but as he's carrying it to the recycler, he may think, what about this guy? You don't know. So anyway, all right. Well, let's have a word of prayer and we'll get out of here. I've taken a little more than I'm allotted, but I guess I'm allowed. Father, I thank you for today, and Lord, I thank you that through you, by you, for you, we could be barrier breakers. And Father, I admit in my own life I wrestle with barriers. Lord, I pray that you would help me to identify them and, Lord, to address them accordingly. And Father, I pray for each and every one of us, Lord, that we will think every day about the stone of remembrance the stone of help that we are creating, both for today's enjoyment and consideration, but Lord, that will speak for us in our absence. Father, may we be found faithful when you come for us or we come to you. And Father, may our voice echo through the years. Seek the Lord while he may be found. For his love is worthy and trustworthy of your love. We love you and we thank you for all these things in heaven too. In Jesus' name, amen. Thanks, everybody. Thank you to our online class. Great to see you. We hope that you'll come back in about 10 minutes. I'm going to cut you short. But invite your friends to connect with us online, wherever in the wide, wide world they might be. And we'll see you in a few moments.